My name is Amod. My topic is Cardio Assist, a CPR assistive device for adults. So let's start. So let's understand the current scenario. This incident you all must have heard. This Christian Eriksen, the Denmark football player, actually got a cardiac arrest while playing in the football field. So he was actually been taken care of because there was an entire team of doctors surrounding him. But other incidents like what we keep hearing nowadays about this cardiac arrest, like this 16-year-old of died, or actor Srima Lagu, maybe even in fact APJ Abdul Kalam also he got a cardiac arrest while talking, and so these cases are suddenly nowadays increasing day by day, and it's kind of becoming common. So what is exactly cardiac arrest? So to answer the main thing, first of all, it is not a heart attack, because generally people confuse cardiac arrest with heart attack. So it is not. The difference is that in heart attack, the arteries get blocked, and that's why there's no blood for the heart. But in cardiac arrest, the heart itself stops. So whom can happen? Anyone. As you saw the examples before, from a football player to an actress of 50 age to a young girl of 16-year-old. Anyone at any age or any gender can succumb to sudden cardiac arrest. Why? Because of all these diabetes and alcohol or smoking or high BP. How, like, regular checkups, these are the things which you can make sure to kind of prevent sudden cardiac arrest. So what this cardiac arrest, so American Heart Association is a foundation, non-organized foundation, which kind of talks about cardiac arrest and is trying to create awareness about cardiac arrest. So just to kind of give you some sense of the statistics, in US, almost 1,000 people per day do suffer cardiac arrest. Most of the locations of these cardiac arrest is homes, not hospitals. It's out, so 73% as per US statistics records. Public settings around 16% and nursing homes around 10%. In US, almost the CPR rate is 39% cases. AED machine, the shock machine was also used 6%. But still, for the US country, 39% is still a low CPR rate. It should be more. It should be more than 50 to 60%. Sweden has almost 100%. Everyone knows, and all these sudden cardiac arrests have been given CPR. So let's talk about India. So India, first of all, has a very bad record of the statistics of sudden cardiac arrest. There's no strong records available. But still, whatever Indian Resuscitation Council kind of has recorded some statistics which tells us that again around 4,000 people per 1 lakh people are getting cardiac arrest in India. Most of the locations again are 70%, and 90% of them are, out of that 70%, 90% of them are fatal. And 1.3% is the bystander rate in India compared to US, which was 39%. And hardly 2% of the Indians are aware about what is CPR. So considering these limitations, why this CPR, because it is mouth to mouth, breath giving and this thing. So this Indian Research Council actually redesigned CPR for this, which was the compression only life support, which I will talk ahead later in detail. So what is CPR? CPR is a cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Basically, in the heart, when the cardiac arrest happens, your heart stops, and when you push on the heart, you are doing the job of pumping the heart and making sure the blood is flowing to the brain, so that the person stays alive. So after you witness a cardiac arrest, it's only 5 minutes after that you can provide CPR. Other than that, more than time, the chances of rescuing him even with CPR kind of reduces a lot. So that first critical 5 minutes is very important, so that the brain stays awake even if the oxygen in the blood is flowing to the brain. So CPR categories, there are 3 categories. So for the young infants, child and adults. These are different types of how you give CPR. Like for infants, it's 2 fingers. Child is just 1 hand. For adults, it's 2 hands. And the depth, these are different depths. So 1.5, 2 and 2 inches is 50 centimeters is the depth for adults. As most of the cases are in the range of adults, I have tried to focus my topic in the adult range. So what are the details of CPR? The chest compression, the rate has to be around 100 to 120 compressions per minute. The depth has to be 2 inches, 50 centimeters minimum, or maximum 60 centimeters. the amount of pressure is not being specified, that how much pressure should be applied, because for the lay person it not be calculative. So it is like the depth has been given, that depth you reach for adults, that should be sufficient enough to kind of try to save him, and allow complete recoil between each of the compressions. And what are the CPR types? There are three mainly types: ACLS, BLS, and COLS. Calls the one which I spoke about in the previous slide. So what is COLS in detail? So understand the COLS, that is compression only life support. So this is a very simple algorithm designed by the Indian Research Council, just so that to encourage every lay person to give CPR. So they have eradicated the mouth to mouth also. Just if you find a person not responsive, and in fact not even breathing, just start compressions, call the emergency service and start compressions. This kind of algorithm is designed so that even it can be performed by any person, any simple layman. The Australian Research Council also says that even if you compress on the chest anywhere, some compressions would happen, and definitely some compressions is better than no compressions at all. So what are the problems associated around this? First of all, lack of awareness in India. As I said, there's no awareness only about this topic. People don't know. People are generally confused with heart attack, and they try to take the victim to the hospital rather than giving him actually this thing. As I said, 2% of the population in Indian are trained about CPR. That's it. And the requirement against 30 is the minimum requirement, which is we are way behind that. And gender difference. So even in considering the societal norms, it is very difficult maybe to accept that a guy giving, unknown guy giving some stranger, opposite gender person a CPR, maybe there's a chance that it won't be accepted. So I started to get into the study around this, what is exactly, and to dive in further, I myself did the BLS training program. So just at Sefi Hospital in Girgaon. So to understand what exactly CPR, I got myself trained. I did a 1-day session, 2-day session. I got certified. This was course by American Heart Association itself, and we got this training. And most of them were doctors available, doctors only during training. The reason was mainly that even the doctors kind of need this practice again and again, a small revision again and again, every maybe after 8 months or 6 months, so that even their skills are retained, because it is so easy to forget and they don't do it at a very regular basis. So this was the training program. Then second, after this, with the help of the doctor there, actually I got a chance to to teach people myself. So in the Independence Day at Kolaba, we did a small program in which we taught people a basic, just the COL, which was calls which I was talking about, that how if you find no response, then just start pressing on the chest. That is me. Yeah. And then second session which I did, I trained. We went to school in again Girgaon, in which we kind of to teach students about how it is, because none of the school actually teaches what is CPR. So that is where the actual problem also occurs, because it's not creating more and more awareness about it. So none of the kids had ever come across before that. So they were the first time actually seeing this. So it was interesting. They were curious, and they were also trying to learn, some of them. So this was it. Second, I tried to go to hospitals like KEM, Sion, and Sion Hospital. I came across this 108 cardiac ambulance. So whenever in the case of cardiac arrest, you have to call for a cardiac ambulance, not a regular ambulance, because in a cardiac arrest, these ambulances have a shock device inside, a shock machine inside, which kind of deals with it while the patient is being transported to the hospital, so that the doctor inside could provide the shocks and kind of try to revive him. But again, some of the observations which I learned, even the techniques that this doctor showed me weren't that accurate. So he was not very aware about the techniques. Plus, he was also hesitant to help, because he had occurred actually, because under him a victim had actually died, and he was kind of blamed. So now he was a little hesitant in helping the next, whoever is just try to be safe and just takes him quickly to the hospital than giving him shock. Then I met other anesthesiologists from Manju Sinha doctor from Women's Hospital, Bandra, Dr. Deepa Kane at KM Hospital, Parel, and Dr. Tasneem at Saifi Hospital, Churni Road. So again, I came across various information from them, that how lack of motivation is one of the problems. What are the problems they see when they teach students or their trainees CPR? is that there's no hand position is incorrect. There's no complete recoil. People don't have a sense of how much depth to go in, what is the speed they should keep. So these are the errors they came across. Also, I came across Dr. Tasneem actually told me about this Lucas device, which is an automated machine which kind of gives CPR, which is only used by paramedics and not by lay people, but it's an expensive device. So I wanted to kind of create a scenario and to find out where I can find a gap. So considering a scenario of a bystander witnesses a victim collapsing suddenly and he rushes towards the victim. Along with the bystander, there are other spectators who have gathered at the site. The bystander has some idea about the cardiac arrest or chest compression as a solution of it, but still bystander kind of he wants to help, but he's kind of little fear about going forward and helping him because he's lack of confidence himself. So he helps him by calling the ambulance and waiting waiting near the victim and actually wasting all the crucial precious time which actually could have given CPR. And the bystander waits and the ambulance comes in. So in this consider 5 points, I thought this between 3, the bystander knowing some knowledge of cardiac arrest and actually rather than touching him or rather than calling the ambulance and not doing anything, this is the area where I could play with and kind of intervene with a design solution. So a device, it could be which would encourage the bystander to give CPR. It could be a mediator or a barrier so that you don't directly touch the victim, so you're safe, which is easily available so you can get it quickly to the site. And it should also create awareness so that you know about what to do, how to do around this situation, entire panic situation. So as I talked about this product, I did some research, and this was the secondary research where these are the devices right now currently available, in which these are machines which are completely automated and they give CPR. They are expensive, used by paramedics. They are difficult to understand. There are many steps involved, and this can't be installed by 1 or 2 people. It needs a team of 4, 5 nurses or sisters, doctors. So I myself went and actually tried what was this device actually, and just to get a sense of how is this been the system, everything is around this. So you first place the backboard under the victim. For that you need to literally push the victim above, and then you keep the top part on it, and then you start the device. So it was very heavy and but not very easy to understand as well. So these are the problem statements: that lack of awareness, the time, importance of time, the dependence. You can't depend on the EMS system, the resistance to touch or help a victim. Maximum 1 or 2 rescuers. Maybe other people would just watch and not really come forward and help. And difficult these automated devices which won't be kept that it's not possible to keep them a lot because they're not very intuitive and easy to use. What are the important insights that I got from the previous research to take forward to my design was to create something intuitive and a simple design which could have an easy action, which will be cost effective, which could provide a good quality CPR and not a bad quality CPR, which is portable, and we also at the same time kind of creates awareness about what is CPR and what is cardiac arrest. So my brief was to design a manually operated CPR assistive device which enables a single or more untrained bystanders to provide a continuous and good quality CPR, which is 5 centimeters, 100 compressions per minute, for average 30 minutes. Because you need 30 minutes approximately, considering the time ambulance takes to come to the victim. Because it might be less, but might get more also. So average is around 30. The solution which is cost effective, easy to assemble, portable, and could be installed, deployed in public spaces, gym, railways, and residential buildings as well. So this was the scenario which I came across when I was talking to Dr. Tasneem. So I started making these quick first mock-ups. So I actually started with these paper models first to understand the mechanisms which could be used. These are very quick models. So these were the quick, rough, dirty mock-up models which I started my entire design process with, just to check the mechanisms. So this lever mechanism, crank mechanisms were all kind of quickly tested here. So if you can see this could be done this way, just to imitate the the CPR action. And then we took it one step ahead and making it out of corrugated boxes. So this were the rough models made out of corrugated boxes, just in 1:1 scale, just to check how this entire assembly process happens around the victim in a actual scenario. So this was the first one which kind of assembled the Lucas device, and this was the frames fixed on this backboard, and this mechanism at the top, the lever mechanism. So I created a scenario that how this to understand the steps involved in it and how easy could it be for the user, for the rescuer to help the victim. So this was one option in which pretty much inspired from the Lucas, when you keep the baseboard and then clamp the top part on it, and then you calibrate it because the chest depths are different. So you need to calibrate according to the chest depth so that the pad falls on the chest, and from that level you go 5 centimeters down. This was the second option, again very similar, but it has in which there was this telescopic frames which would come out. So earlier there was a different design, this was a different design. In third way, I kind of tried to remove in which only one side had the frame, and to make it more lightweight, and this was a rotational motion in this. And in this it was the rotational action, and other previous one it was the lever action to kind of give the CPR. This one, the problem on the previous three options, the main problem was it has that backboard on which the top part was to be clamped. But the biggest issue what I actually occurred while doing these exercises was also that it's very difficult for a person to place that backboard. If I am a single rescuer, it is very difficult for that person to place that backboard under the victim, because the victim might be heavy and the rescuer there's a chance that would be weaker. So in the fourth option, that backboard was completely eliminated in order to save time of assembly. So this was like this two curved plate that goes on the side of the victim and it kind of stays because of the weight of the victim, and then you tighten at the side so that it stays, and again at the top there's this lever mechanism. And the time is very precious, and myself when I tried putting to a little bulky person, I took almost 30 to 40 seconds, and that was still not very accurate. So that's why in this option the backboard was removed. I thought I could just tuck in from this at the sides of the victim and tighten it, and then the CPR could be given at the side. But further, the fifth option was further developed, and to eliminate the taking support of the victim's weight to hold the device was the idea. And in this option, if you see, there are these two pedals on which you place them on either side of the victim, and then stand over it and do this CPR action, which would do the job. And I thought there were completely two different pedals at the side. You stand on it, and rather than using the victim's weight to hold the device, that was the backboard was doing, you use your weight to hold the device in the place. So that was the next decision. When I kind of scored them out of 5, the winner was option 5, in which I chose to the last option, in which I used the rescuer's weight to kind of hold the entire device over the victim. So I took all this again to Dr. Tasneem from Saifi Hospital, and I got good credits from her that she also kind of preferred the fifth option. And then taking it forward to better ideations, some sketches, and then this was the first one. That how my point was kind of to make it how quick it could be, how the assembly around the victim could be quick. So this was the first concept which had a inspiration from a chair. So you take this chair, there's this mechanism on top of it, you open this flap, place it over the victim, and then this could be a pad which you could calibrate on the chest so it falls, and then you lock it and get over the victim and then start CPR like this. So this was the first idea. I got this chair from IKEA, and then kind of added my mechanism over it, and to just check how people were following it, and kind of gave some instructions to the people, and again did a scenario around it, so to understand how this setup is happening in that context. This was the concept 2, in which the rotation action was kind of taken care. So this was the second concept, which was designed out of this taking consider of these 25 dia pipes, and the mechanism was used by using different gears inside. So in this idea was to convert the rotational motion into linear motion. So if you see this, when you rotate, when you place it over the victim, stand on this foot supports, and then do this rotation to generate the up and down chest compression action. Kind of rotate this, and this does the CPR. Again, a scenario around it to understand. And the third option was pneumatic. So my idea was to kind of use a pump, air pump, to that could be used to give the compressions. So this was the another working rig, which the mechanism was operated using pneumatics. So this was the part which has the spring, and this kind of at the top there's a supply air. Here, if you see, there's a valve which was actually thought of using by operated this brake system. So when you press this, this part would be at the bottom. So when you press this, this also gets pressed, and it opens at the end, releasing the air so that this pad can come back to its original position. So I'll give you a quick demonstration. So this goes down, and when you press the brake, it comes up. Again, goes down, press the brake, comes up. So this was designed earlier, but the problem faced was that the air pumping was not able to produce enough pressure to give 50 mm compression depth. That's why this was not taken forward, and the lever mechanism was taken forward. So again, a scenario around it. And so when I analyzed this, there was other problems. That the first, the chair one, people were not confused of how to keep the chair, which direction to keep the chair. Second, also because this was a this flat surface, it was kind of creating a visual obstruction between the rescuer and the victim and the rescuer. Um, Again, this was proved to be very intuitive action over the rotation one. People found this easy and very easy to do and very obvious than the rotation one. So again, the assembly time, how much time they took to kind of form it around, to kind of make it stand around the victim, was also checked, and an average time was taken. It was way more. It was around 22 seconds. But still, my aim was to get it down to around close to 10 seconds. So there was a huge, I wanted to take it halfway down almost. But still, I wanted to give them, score them on this. And out of these three concepts which I showed, so the next step I merged the concept 1 and concept 2, which became A, because these were some of both. There were goods at both of these options which I thought I could combine in and make it one. And then the concept 3 was taken separately to kind of explore it further, and the working rig was made for the concept A. So in this, I used the lever mechanism and this foot supports that I could stand on it over the victim. This was position 1, in which I was standing over it. On the position 2, I was on the side, and position 2B, and I was on the side but with a longer lever. So again, kind of took different user testing to check which people were very comfortable using, on which product they could use it for a longer duration, because the CPR had to be given for almost maybe 30 minutes, and I was checking if they could reach at least 15 minutes at least. So the average time to assemble this device came to around 18 seconds from 22. But that there were some rig errors in between. That's why that also kind of made it a little delayed. Plus, the users were not very prompt enough, because it was a fake situation and not a very realistic situation. But I felt this 18 could be further taken down, and when after worked on it. The main observation was to have an adequate space between the giving the compression and the person standing. The leg spreading was better on when it was over the victim, because on the side it was little complicated. But naturally, when you have to stand over the victim, you do spread your legs apart, so which gives you more stability. Long handle was also preferred, because long handle helped to give less force comparatively the short handle. Then the working rig for this was made to check the pneumatic, but the pneumatic actually wasn't not sufficient enough. The pump air, I was planning to use the car pump, not this handle pump, but we still checked it. The air force was not pressure was not sufficient enough to do a 5-inch. Even it just did 1 centimeter compression. So that's why this was removed, and then the concept A was selected. Then the concept A was further actually detailed. The handle options were decided to kind of, because the handle option was coming in the way of the rescuer, so that was changed, and different hand tried. Then this was the earlier working rig, and this came the new one. So this was the first working rig. If you see in this was the first frame design, which was very compact earlier. But the problem was when it was decided to have a longer lever to which enables less force application. The foot support had to be actually extended outwards. So this frame structure evolved into this frame structure, in which this foot support actually extended ahead, so you can stand, and this long lever doesn't interrupt between your legs, and this could be a smooth action of CPR using the lever mechanism. So the point was to, so the because the footsteps, this frame was taken forward, I got a space to stand, and the longer lever also gave me, I was in line with the victim, with my vision over him, making sure he's safe. And I got this handle was part where I could place my hand for better grip. Also, when I was over the victim, the advantage was I could change the grips, if because for longer durations I could use this hand, then this hand, or maybe even both hands sometimes. But versus when I was at side, if any side, you could just use one hand and not the both hands, not change. So that's why this was taken forward to check, to make sure. Yeah, so again this was user tested. So in this, again, this option, what we observed was people actually stood little ahead, and this handle was coming in the way, so that's why it was not preferred. Then I had to stand little behind so that the hand is straight and not bending inwards. As I said, it gave the flexibility of changing grips, versus on the sideways it was not giving that flexibility. Plus the feet couldn't be, couldn't, they had to stand a little widespread to give better stability, which was not happening in the sideways. So this option was selected. Then ideations took place. The 3D modeling, I thought how this footsteps could be handles, how could be, then how the pipe connected to the main device is it straight, angled, branched, how the device is kind of form of the central pieces, curvature, sloping towards, sloping backwards. Then started making model first. I thought I made this main block with thermocol to understand. I didn't 3D print it directly because I wanted to see the curves radius myself. So I sanded it myself to get the best curve out of this. Then in this prototype, uh, the pipes were also bended. PVC pipes were used so that I could bend it according to the preferred radius, with the help of the heat gun, to make sure what the footrest, what preferred shoe size would be, the maximum, so that everyone could stand. Then taking forward, also at the same time, the working rig was happening. We got it manufactured from this vendor in Navi Mumbai, in which we got this pipes cut first. Then I had to explain him. So we used simple wires to show him how this could happen, what the detail would be. Then we bent it, measurements checking, the brackets were designed, then welding of the parts. Final again this, I got to source some bushes from Majid Bandar market, and and this was the revised final working rig ended up like. And this later I got it powder coated just to finish it off. So this model you can see here was the final working rig which I made. As you saw in the previous working rig, which it was further developed. This handle was bent through a vendor in Navi Mumbai, in a CNC pipe bending. Then this foot supports were added for so that the person gets strong base stability. The wheels were added to help drag this device. The same mechanism, there is this rubber pad added so that to allow the perfect accurate chest compressions. So I'll do one thing. I'll do a small demonstration to show you how this device would be used in an actual scenario. If you witness a victim just fallen out of sudden cardiac arrest, go to him, ask him, are you okay? If there is no response and if there is no breathing, that means he needs a CPR. Then that's where my device comes into play. So you go, get this device from the place it is deployed, remove it, get it to the site, you have to place such a way that this pad is at the center of the chest. That is the first instruction. Then get over the victim. Just fold down these foot support pads and stand over them for firm stability of the device. Third step is to press this button to do the calibration so that the pad falls on the chest. And fourth step is to start CPR by holding this. Also, the advantage of this position is that you can change grips. For example, if I'm using right hand now, I could change to left hand, or sometimes maybe both hands. So coming to color options, different color options were explored. Yellow, red, green, blue. Just saying, out of these, all red and blue were selected. But red, after talking to more and more people, red was little intimidating over the blue, and kind of blue one out of all. So coloring, trying to check the colors. This is colors was added, colors were formed and made. So this was my final form model, depicting the exact color shade, exact form, and how intuitive this device is. So to explain the different parts of it, this is the main casing out of ABS, which would house the mechanism with a long lever. This There will be grips at the top surface. This handle is so that you can press. It's a telescopic handle, so you press, you stretch, and then you can drag the device to the side using these wheels. This foot supports fall down so that you can stand on this, very huge and robust. And this is the red pad which does the chest compression. So if you see at the top, there is this instruction panel with 4 instructions, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is the press button which does the chest calibration and which allows you to give effective and good quality CPR. So this is how you would stand on the foot support, hold it here and hold this and do the CPR. Some detailed technical drawings were also being made. This was a plan detail, how this goes. This cap is there. This casing of ABS was designed. If you see at the section, there's a bell at the top also, and that 5 centimeter depth control. Make sure that the depth is only 5 centimeters. And the bell was for that to, whenever you press the top button to calibrate, the bell will also start, and it will give you a ting 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 sound, which you have to follow it to make sure you are in line with the compression speed that you desire. Also, there was a handle provided at the side to make sure how this device could be brought to the site. So how then instructions, because this device, my aim was that whenever this device is installed in any place, it could be given a basic brief about it, but at the same time, if a completely new user is using it, he also need to have some instructions. So how there was kind of calibrated into 4 instructions in which easy steps, so that place the pad, make sure this is center of the chest, unfold the feet, press the top button to calibrate, and then start CPR. Make sure your depth is going 0 to 50 and you are following the beats. And this was kept on the top surface, so that whenever you're standing on this, you see at the top surface. The logo was designed for this device, as it was this cardio assist, the name I had given. So C and A kind of forming in a heart, and the yellow dot showing the top button, which is press. And this was the model. It is right now in the folded, unfolded. This is when you just get it to the victim, and this is the different parts of it, the handles and the wheels you drag in. There are this dimple detail to make sure that this is folded upwards, subtle curvatures to make sure you push down the pad, instructions panel at the top. When it's opened, there was this small punctures given so that the bell sound comes out clearly, so that the rescuer has a sense of the speed. This rubber padding for better gripping, spring lock at the pin lock so that the foot rest is intact in the place. So what about the deployment? How this machine would be fixed? So my plan was to create awareness at the same time. So making sure that whenever this device is installed on the wall, people come to know that what exactly it is, because as they are not aware about what CPR is, but even if they see something like this, and there could be a barcode scanner which we can tell people about and tell the story about what is CPR and what is cardiac arrest. At the same time, there's a red sign at the top which was kept red so that it could be easily spotted, and which says the basic three rules of no response, no breathing, start CPR, and this name, and this is how this could be installed. So this was the final user testing again of the final working rig, and the valuable feedbacks what I got was the handle was actually coming in the way that could be improved. Instructions could be reduced a bit. People were not, maybe the instructions were a lot for them for that panic situation and the quick assembly time. Foot supports were a little wider for some people, for short-headed people. Bell winding back was also an idea that who would actually, when the bell is fully unwinded, there has to be a person who will wind it and keep it back to the position. So that these questions. So final scenario around this device. So before that, I'll just show you my working rig. So ma'am, this was a bracket. I right now, so that this could be stayed in intact. There would be a human like this. So whenever you in the situation, you pull it off and get it to the victim like this. There would be a handle which would help you drag it and get it to the victim. So this is where you first witness the person falling. Then you go and get the device, drag it to the victim, place it on. So you place first, making sure that it's the center of the chest. This could be little up so that you first there is a clear space in between. You can easily keep. Then the second step is to unfold the footrests like this. Then press this so that this pad falls on the chest and it's calibrated. So that first initially this pad would be upwards because it will adjust to the chest height. It will be around 300 up, considering that chest depth is good enough to consider almost 95% of the people. And then once that calibration is done, you've already standing over it, and then you hold it and then you start the CPR. The advantage of this, as I said, you can change the grips or both the hands. So this is the final model. This is just the form model, not the working rig, but this was the idea. The top is the instruction panel. This wheel, long lever. This is the very robust footrest, so you can stand. This is the prominent red color, making sure that falls on the chest pad. This is the yellow press button, which also comes with my logo. This is the grips. And also the user testing when I did last, people actually were holding it up also. That was a little better grip. So later I added this in the working rig, which was not here. Also, this curvature was designed actually 100 radius. But when I went to the working rig manufacturing unit, they had a 60 die only. So that's why this radius curvatures are different than what that has. But still, I still went forward with it, considering industry limitations, how we could work around it, and how design could be evolved considering the whatever the vendor has the die. So I still went forward to check what this curvatures would look like, and it doesn't look that bad as well. So this was the final this thing. Yeah, thank you.